Welcome to a juicy segment today. Your Peachy interview is with one of San Diego's top and most popular business coaches, Karie Kaufman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Since 2005, Karie has coached over 500 businesses. She's helped them exceed their goals and win awards. So we're very lucky to be speaking to her today about the conversations she's having with her clients and how they're facing up to the changing consumer expectations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
My business is called ActionCOACH Business Coaching, and ActionCOACH is a global franchise. We're in 80-something countries, and I run the San Diego office. So I've been a business coach for the past almost 15 years now, and my specialty is in working with small up to mid-market size companies who still founder-driven usually, or maybe multi-generational, family-owned and operated perhaps, but where the business owner wants to continue to grow the business without losing their mind, losing control, or killing their employees. That's kind of their goal. I think right now, particularly this year, and more so than any other year I've seen, is people-related challenges. And I think that's caused in part by the fact that our unemployment is so low right now that the best talent is already working somewhere and perhaps not job searching. So recruiting and retaining the right people has been a challenge above and beyond what I've seen in past years. There's other challenges that I think are continuing to evolve, such as digital landscape and marketing for new ways, particularly for businesses who've been around for many, many years and have never really relied on that type of marketing to grow their business, but now they feel like they have to learn it just to keep up. So there's a few different things as the climate continues to change, but nothing insurmountable. On the marketing front and the technology and some of those things that businesses who've been around for a while might maybe be a little bit behind the eight ball, that's certainly something that's worth looking at. But to be honest, what I tell my clients is, if you're going to do it right. Don't feel like you should be on social media because everybody else is. When you actually don't have a great strategy for it, your clients aren't looking for your type of service there anyway. It can cause you to spin your wheels and waste a bunch of time. So if there's one tip that I could give for making progress in a digital environment, short of having an expert, somebody on your staff or somebody that you outsource to really, really nail the strategy really well, an easy place that I would say to start would be to focus on getting online reviews and testimonials. Yeah. It's far more valuable for your customers to go online themselves and tell everybody about how you are. They can say it better for you than you could ever possibly say it for yourself. So if there's one simple thing that you could do that would boost your online presence, I would ask all of your customers, your vendors, your suppliers, anybody who's had a positive experience in doing business with you, to write you a 5-star review on Google or Yelp or wherever makes sense for your business. Another thing that I see happening in companies that are maybe a little bit younger, or the owners a little bit next generation, is they are more focused on purpose-driven businesses and company culture, and the way they set their goals is just different. Whereas when I coach businesses who have been around for a while, their goals tend to become more redundant or repetitive. Their goals are things like 10 or 20% growth over last year, which is, there's really no reason why. They're not really sure that's going to look. It's not connected to any bigger purpose. So I think the next generation is looking for goals that are connected to some multiple of excitement and purpose and a great culture, that they want to be excited about what they're going to work to do every day. And that doesn't mean they have to be feeding the hungry or changing the world. It might be an everyday necessary service that our society needs, but that they're in a place that they enjoy it. They feel like their contributions are valued. And they actually enjoy the people that they work with internally as well as their customer base. And it's something that they can feel good about coming every day beyond just getting a paycheck. I think a mature business has tremendous advantages. Just the longevity of experience of dealing with customers, living already perhaps through a few economic cycles or business cycles, things like that I think is undervalued. I see a lot of wisdom and knowledge that an experienced business person has, and that's a huge advantage. Where I'd say it could be a disadvantage is when it makes them get a little bit lazy, and by that, or just complacent might be a better word than lazy, because they're hard workers, they're not lazy people. But they're accustomed, for example, they're accustomed to doing business by referral. And so we just kind of start to take for granted that the referrals will always be there and that it's going to be enough to sustain the growth. And maybe not really paying attention to the changing tides or the changing trends or up and coming competition or innovation that might be coming to eat their lunch and they're not aware of it. I mean, on a bigger scale, if you think about companies like Kodak or Blockbuster, it's not that the movie industry went away or the photography industry didn't go away. They just started to shift. And those companies they weren't paying attention. They weren't changing with the tides. And so they got to, where they are today. And I think that can happen even on a small business local level if the leadership team isn't willing to stay current and stay relevant and keep their eye on what's happening, what do our customers want these days? Are their expectations changing and evolving? Because once upon a time, offering good customer service was enough to keep growing the business. And in this day and age, customer service is a minimum expectation. Like, that's not a differentiator anymore. So they've got to stay cutting edge and leverage all those years of experience and long-term customer relationships to work for them, rather than kind of, relax and assume that they'll always be there.
So Karie, I wanted to pose to you a scenario, something that I think will probably happen many times over here in San Diego, especially with our small business community. But let's say you have a business owner who is Sam, who owns an air conditioning company, and he's had it for 30 years. But he's ready to retire and wants to hand it down to his son. Unfortunately, his son is lacking interest in participating in the business because he thinks it's an antiquated business model, doesn't feel it's fun to work there, wants to be somewhere that's more up to date. What might Sam do to make the business more appealing to a son or someone in his family that's a younger generation, so they might be interested in coming in and taking that business over?
Yeah, okay. I have a couple of different answers to this. The first one is assuming that, let's call him Sammy Jr., okay. You think he actually has what it takes. Perhaps even maybe worked in the family business during summers or things like that, has a little bit of experience with the business. I'd empower him, give him a few projects. You got an idea, Junior? Like, let's hear it. You want to run with that marketing plan that gets to the most cutting edge, latest and greatest marketing strategies? Like, yeah, lay it out. Give me a proposal with what you think, what kind of budget we need and how it's going to work. And empower that person to start to make the business little bits of his own. And the business owner then has to be open-minded, has to begin to practice relinquishing control, and be open to these new things, and maybe even willing to let them, try some things that aren't going to work and try some things that will work and tweak and refine, and let them start to take ownership in a way that they feel like they are contributing and getting to infuse some fresh energy and ideas into the business. Now, all that is said with the caveat that the son actually has some level of interest in the business and has what it takes. Otherwise, don't try to force it. Let them go spread their wings, and the best thing the business owner could do at that point in time is not pass it to a family member that's not going to carry forth the legacy. Because sadly, I've seen that happen, where for whatever reason, the parent felt they needed to pass it down to the child, or the child thought that they wanted it but actually was ill prepared to run it, and just runs the family business into the ground. So the best thing the business owner could do in that scenario, I'd say, is build the business to sell, build a ton of value in it, sell it, and then if they want to invest in their son or daughter to start their own thing in another industry, then they'll have the funds to make that investment into them in a different way that might not have to be with their family business, but they could still be part of that legacy.
And building your business to sell is something that you actually help.
Absolutely. Yeah. My philosophy is that you should always build a business that's sellable, meaning that the business works, right? And it doesn't have to, it can work without the owner, meaning that whether it's you who runs the business or it's somebody else who runs the business itself has value. So if you always build a business to sell, a couple things can happen. One is you can either sell it for a profit, or you can keep it and it works. Yeah, and you get to do the parts that you enjoy, or have passive income or whatever those goals are that the business owner has for it. But yeah, if you build a business that you can sell, then you can be assured that your business has value, whether that value is to you or to the future owner. Well, it's important that the person at the top is always connected to the customers, right? Even if you're at a phase of your business where you're not directly serving the customers anymore, there's other people who are responsible for the day-to-day transactional work, but that the leadership team or the owner or the founder is still in touch. That could be done through simple surveys, asking questions about what your customers like or what they think you could be doing better or differently, or just that the owner makes it a point to get together, take somebody to lunch once a week or a couple times a month, and just keep a pulse on the market and what the customer base is telling you. But there's a few main things that you're looking for, that if you can understand what your client base is, what their fears, their concerns, or their frustrations in doing business with your industry. So, for example, you run a mechanic shop. What's any given person who owns a car, what are their fears or their concerns or their frustrations based on past experiences or perceived experiences when dealing with your industry? If you can really understand that, how people think about your industry or what they really want out of your industry, then that's what it takes to set you apart. When you can nail their fears, concerns, and frustrations and be really clear in your marketing or in your customer service process, that you address those head on in a way that puts them at ease. Now you've really articulated your value in a way that's different from your competition. You're not just trying to compete based on some generic level of customer service that all of your competitors also claim to have. You're specifically addressing what their headaches are in a way that makes them feel a sense of relief. When you can articulate what somebody else's concerns are, they automatically associate you with having the solution or with being different, with that you get them. And so they expect that you're not going to perpetuate those headaches, you're going to solve those headaches for them or put those fears at ease. So one last piece of advice that I would offer to business owners is to have really clear goals for your business that go beyond just the next 12 months. Know, first of all, what do you want your business to do for you? What do you ultimately want out of it? Whether that's how much money you want it to make for you, or how much free time, or how much impact you want to make on your community. But then the business has its own set of goals too, that's really clear and driving forward, and also gives clarity to the team. So that's my last tip for you, is to set some really clear, measurable goals for the company, something that the team can get involved in and can get excited about. And if you want some help in doing that, or in anything else that I've talked about today, or in just growing your business overall, feel free to reach out to me. My website's www.kariekaufman.com, and you can find me on all the typical social media channels. Pretty easy to find. Thanks.